Shalom, all praises to the Most High, and no said, in the name of His only begotten Son, Matzah the Lamb. So this video, I have to admit, this is going to be one of my hardest videos to really present, because unlike my last two videos on the Great Tribulation, the information that I'm going to cover is kind of convoluted. I don't really understand it all that well myself. So maybe you're asking, well, why are you making the video then if you don't really understand it? Well, it's because I have some hunches. I have some, I suppose, hypotheses, and I really want to get it out there so I can get some opinions on it, because it's hard to do this myself, So I might as well ask for the help of, my viewers and see what happens, because I do not have all the answers. So in this video, I wanted to touch on a few things. One is regarding 12 and 7, the significance of those two numbers. It seems that the Most High really does love the number 12 and the number 7. He uses them for almost everything when it comes to completion or summation. My voice is going to die in this video, but let's hope it holds up. So right now we are in Daniel 9, and we are in the 70-week prophecy. So let me just read it. At the beginning of thy supplications, let me change this into New English, into the New International Version, because I'm trying to get through this video quickly, or quicker, I should say, because this is a long video, but I want to be quicker. The 77s. I don't know why I said that. While I was speaking and praying, confessing my sin and the sin of my people Israel, and making my request to the Lord my God for his holy hill, while I was still in prayer, Gabriel, the man I had seen in the earlier vision, came to me in swift flight about the time of the evening sacrifice. He instructed me and said to me, Daniel, I have now come to give you insight and understanding. As soon as you begin to pray, a word went out, which I have come to tell you, for you are highly esteemed. Therefore consider the word and understand the vision. So he's about to be given a vision, right? 77s are decreed for your people and your holy city to finish transgression, to put an end to sin, to atone for wickedness, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy place. Know and understand this, from the time the word goes out to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until the anointed one, the ruler, comes. There will be 7 sevens and 62 sevens. It will be rebuilt with streets and a trench. But in times of trouble, after the 62 sevens, the anointed one will be put to death and will have nothing. The people of the ruler who will come will destroy the city and sanctuary. The end will come like a flood. I've mentioned this in a previous video, that waters or floods are referred to as the other nations. War will continue until the end, and desolations have decreed. He will confirm a covenant with many for 1 7. In the middle of the 7, he will put an end to sacrifice and offering, and at the temple he will set up an abomination that causes desolation, until the end that is decreed is poured out on him. What is this talking about? I'll pause the video, figure out what time period is this. Okay, this already happened. This is from then up until the destruction of Jerusalem. So this occurred, this already happened, the abomination of desolation that happened back then. It says it right here. You can even go back to the KJV to make sure. I just wanted to be able to read it. He shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. And for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation. and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. This already happened. But the reason why I'm reading this is because of the significance of 70. If you guys have read this before, I've brought this up before in a previous video, but this is the parable of the 70 shepherds that is in one of the Enoch books. And the story of the 70 shepherds is pretty much the Great Tribulation. It is the story about how the Israelites have been scattered and have been trodden down. But the last group of shepherds were going to be just that much more violent, I should say. They were truly going to do many, evil things to the sheep or to the Israelites. So, but the 70 shepherd period, this covers a large period, right? This doesn't just cover what happened in 1492. This covers what happened in Babylon, what happened in the Persians and the Medes, the Greeks, the Romans, and up until now. At least in my opinion. I could be wrong, but that is what it's talking about. And at the end of these 70 shepherds, that's when Hamashiac is going to come back and so forth. But I'm trying to make this clear. This 70 period is almost within the 70 period. And this is kind of how the Most High works. He puts things almost in like a, do you know that, what is it called? When you open, not a statue, like an ornament, and it has the same ornament, but it's smaller. And then you open that one and it's the same one and it's smaller. That's pretty much how it is. This is kind of how the prophecies are. They're almost the same, but in circles. And it does say that in Ecclesiastes or Sirach, that everything is in a circle, but things are in like circles within circles. And some of those circles move faster. If they're smaller, they're going to move faster, right? Or I guess they move slower since they're smaller. But everything comes in a circle at the same time. So we are literally on a clock. When that clock dings, that's it. And there seems to be a numerical value of 7 and 12. That's what I'm starting to notice. So look at this. Aurora shooting leaves 12 dead and 70 wounded. Now here's these two numbers again, 12 and 7, or 70. Specifically 70 this time, because this is an interesting set of numbers. This is Luke 10. After these things, the Lord appointed other 70 also, which are disciples or prophets or whatever, and sent them 2 and 2 before his face into every city and place whither he himself would come. Now, let me mention this. Who sent these prophets? He appointed them. If you're not appointed, you're not a prophet. I'm just putting it out there because I say this every video. I have to say this because it has to kick into someone's head. So, therefore, said he unto them, the harvest is truly great, but the laborers are few. Pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest, that he would send forth laborers into his harvest. Go your ways. Behold, I send you forth as lambs among wolves. This is talking about back then. Yes, you can compare it to now, because we kind of are like lambs among wolves. We're not really supposed to fight back. It tells us not to fight back. It's not telling us that we need to be our own saviors. It's telling us to, well, it's not even telling us, it's told them. But if you want to apply it to yourself, you don't act like you're a wolf. Like don't fight fire with fire. Let the Most High fight the wolves. He will give you the sword. It's prophesied he will give you the sword. So brothers, you don't need to go out there and do anything stupid. You don't need to be a part of any black power movements. Sit your ass down and wait. This is the patient of this. This is the patience of the saints. The saints are patient. Maybe you're not a saint. Maybe I'm not a saint. But we should really try to act like them, shouldn't we? Now, these are some other parts where I've seen 70. Gather unto me 70 men of the elders of Israel. See that number again. So it's kind of weird. I'm just like, keep seeing this number. And it says it here, and 70 elders of Israel, and worship ye afar off. It's just like, why 70? Why do I keep seeing 70? And Moses went out and told the people the words of the Lord, and gathered the 70 men of the elders of the people, and set them round about the tabernacle. When Moses got that advice from his father-in-law, why did he choose 70? He must have got instruction from the Most High. Why would you choose exactly 70 people? You know? But here's where things get very interesting for me. This is when they were leaving Egypt. And they came to Elim, where were 12 wells of water, and 70 palm trees, or 70 palm trees. And they encamped there by the waters. This is very interesting, because you see 12 and 70 again. Christ had 12 disciples and appointed 70. And we see 12 wells of water and 70 palm trees while they're leaving. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already. So out of like when during this time period, before they the Pharaoh started to rule over them who didn't know them, during this time period at least, there were only 70 so-called Israelites. There's only 70 of them. Why would you name this? What was the significance of even saying this? Why is it exactly 70 people? That's the Most High's doing. I'm trying to point out that 70 is significant in some sort of way. And this is the 70 years that we were in Babylon for. See, the Most High sets the dates or the numbers of these captivities. He sets it up, right? No one else does. Now, this is a question that I have for you guys. What is this 1,000 generations? I've looked this up. I'm trying to find a precept, in the scriptures and other books as well. I don't know what this means, and I see it a few times in the scriptures. This is what it says: 1 Chronicles 16, verse 15. Be ye mindful always of his covenant, the words which he commanded to 1,000 generations. Like what? What 1,000 generations? What does that mean? But it's true, because David knew about it. Psalm 105, verse 8. He hath remembered his covenant forever, the word which he commanded to 1,000 generations. Like what? Like when did he do that? When did he label 1,000 generations? What does this really mean? It's hard to say, at least for me. If you guys know, please let me know. Deuteronomy 7 and 9. Now therefore that the Lord thy God, he is God, the faithful God, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations. I'm still not sure what it means. I still don't know. Because yes, I understand that this is probably where it's quoting from, but what does this mean? I don't know, man. What do I have next? I have a point to make. Yes, this is what it is. So in the Forgotten Books of Eden, it says in a few different times that Adam and his seed, the righteous seed line that the Most High was going to put on the earth, they were going to be let back in the garden after 5,500 years, or 5,500 years. Right? Now, if we look at what biblical scholars say, they say humans have been around for about 6,000 years. And a few people say it, like they do the whole math, like they try to, like they dig through the whole scriptures and they do the whole math and they say, well, it's about 6,012 years around that time period. And I can understand if it was like 500 and like 5,700 or 5,200, but it's all the way at 6,000. And I found that pretty strange because it kind of conflicts with what this is saying. And it says, O Adam, as to the fruit of the tree of life for which thou askest, I will not give it thee now, but when the 5,500 years are fulfilled, then I will give thee the fruit of the tree of life, and thou shalt eat and live forever. And Eve and thy righteous seed. Then God revealed to him the promise he had made to Adam. He explained to him the 5,500 years, and revealed unto him the mystery of his coming upon the earth. Let me see if I have one last one. And Adam and said to Adam, O Adam, all this misery which thou hast wrought upon thyself will not avail against my rule, neither will it alter the covenant of 5,500 years. So unless this is a complete mistranslation, because it says it 4 different times, I'm not sure, man. You know? But then it led me to something else. It led me to the apocalypse of Abraham. And in the apocalypse of Abraham, it says that, there's going to be a final 12-hour age, pretty much. There's like the age of wickedness or age of impiety. Now let me read it. And I answered and said, Mighty Eternal One, you who are sanctified by your power, be merciful in my petition, since for this you informed me and showed me, because the Most High pretty much showed him a vision of what's going to happen to him and his seed line. I'm actually going to get into that in another video. Since you have brought me up onto your height, therefore inform me, your beloved, about about whatever I ask. Will what I saw be their lot for long? Like he's asking because Most High showed him all the evils that's going to come upon them. And he's like, well, how long is it going to happen for? And he showed me a multitude of his people. And he said to me, for this reason it is through the 4 accents you say that my anger will be because of them. And in them will be retribution for their works. And in the 4th accent is 100 years. And 1 hour of the age will also be 100 years. And evil among heathen, and an hour in their mercy, even with reproaches as among the heathen. So he's saying right now that 1 hour equals 100 years. Now, and I said, Eternal Mighty One, how long a time is an hour of the age? And he said, I decree to keep 12 periods of the impious age among the heathens and among your seed, and what you have seen will be until the end. So he's saying that there are 12 hours of this impious age, right? So times 12 times 100 is 1,200 years. Are you following me? So I'm thinking, so when did this impious age start? Well, could it have started in, the 800s AD? That doesn't make sense. That's such a random date. And now it occurred to me this. What did it say here about Adam and Eve? About there would be 5,500 years. And they think that we're 6,000 years in. Meaning they think that we're ahead of this time. Now, me, looking at this prophecy, we would also be ahead of this prophecy. Unless what? Unless they've changed the dates. And that's what I came to the conclusion that Hamashiach died 12,000 years ago or around that time period. He did not die 2,000 years ago. I think they're lying about that. And if that's the case, that will put us behind this prophecy or around this prophecy. Who knows? Because I really don't know the exact dates. Because even though they give dates for the BCs, they could be wrong as well. I have no idea. But I do know that we're not past 5,500 years. We can't be. Now this age is supposed to last for 1,200 years. And in the 12th hour, or the last 100 years, or among that 100 years, that is when he's supposed to bring the 10 plagues upon the heathen. That's what he says. And we're not going to get into the prophecy like that. That's for like a totally different discussion. I'm really just focusing on the time periods for this video. And it says it even in these precepts. Now, these precepts, they give you a bit more understanding because they, they've studied this themselves. They're confused about certain things themselves. So I try to pick out the meat from the bones like anything else. But they agree that they believe that an hour is 100 years. They just don't know when this started or what happened or how this makes sense. Now but they also precepted something else. They precepted this. They precepted 2nd Ezra chapter 14, verse 11. And this says, "For the world is divided into 12 parts, and the 10 parts of it are already gone, and half of a 10th part." So, excuse me. Ezra is saying that there's only 1.5 parts left of the earth. Now, that kind of reminded me of that whole prophecy where it says time and times and a half, but it kind of doesn't though, because I don't know what a time is unless a time equals half a part. Then I guess it kind of makes more sense and it fits into that, but I'm not sure. But notice how this prophecy is a 1260 year prophecy according to, their breakdowns or whatever. But it does say that in the book of Daniel and Revelations that the woman would hide for this amount of time. Now, if you change this into years, this kind of makes a little bit of sense, especially after listening to my assertion regarding the apocalypse of Abraham and possibly us or Hamashiach really only dying 1,200 years ago. That actually makes a little bit of sense, especially it being in 12 parts. Now you see that this earth is in 12 parts, but we're not in the 12 hour. So inside the 12 parts of the earth, there are 12 hours of each of the parts. Maybe. That's what I'm guessing. And maybe the half of the part ended during Hamashiach's time. Maybe each part equals... No, that can't though. You see what I mean? This is what I'm talking about. I was just about to say that each part equals 1,200 years. But that would make the Adam and Eve prophecy not make sense. And that would make really the Bible not make sense. Unless Adam or the earth has already been around for a few thousand years. That could be something as well. Who knows? Who knows? In fact, let's do some calculating. So we have 12 times this. Whoops. We have 12 times this part. So this would be a part, and there's supposed to be 12 parts according to my logic. And this would be this much years that the earth has been around for. Now, hear me out. Maybe we minus this amount And we see that maybe the earth has been around for this amount of time before Adam came around. Maybe. It's a possibility. I have no idea. But that would make everything fit regarding this prophecy into my logic. But also, this is the last thing I wanted to show you. It is about the 11th hour. This is the parable that they have in Matthew about the laborers in the field or in the vineyard. And about the 11th hour he went out and found others standing idle, and saith unto them, Why stand ye here all the day idle? So this is really talking about the fishers, right? Now notice that this is talking about hours, or the 11th hour, and the 12th hour is supposed to be like the end. That's supposed to be the harvest season. What's the 12th hour in the apocalypse of Abraham? It is also the harvest season. So maybe Hamashiac, Yahawahshi, Yashaya, Matzah the Lamb, maybe he was crucified 1,200 years ago instead of 2,000 years ago. So I guess this is not really, I don't know, this is more of a theological video than really a breakdown, because I just wanted to show you guys what I've been struggling with. You know, I'm still struggling with this. It's kind of bugging me, and I need to do other things. So I just wanted to show you guys what I was doing. I hope you guys can give me some good questions, give me some great information maybe. I don't know. But I think this is a good opportunity for the both of us. Until next time, Shalom.